tonight on DC News Now at 9.
I'm feeling really good. I mean, you know, it's one step. It's not going to fix it overnight.
DC's superintendent sued by a group of parents. Why they're accusing the district of failing to protect students with special needs.
Monumental mistake for the Commonwealth.
Monumental move no more. Virginia's arena plans are falling apart, and some locals are celebrating.
I wouldn't want it under most circumstances, but like having it rammed down our throats, I'm happy that it didn't work out.
Tracking dry conditions and a sunny Friday. Let's look at your 7-day forecast coming up.
And a special guest at tonight's State of the Union address.
This is for you. It says, "Happy birthday, Elizabeth."
She made ripples in the medical world. More than 4 decades later, her birth is back at the forefront of a heated debate in Congress. She's America's first IVF baby, and we meet her tonight. And we begin with breaking news now at 9 o'clock. You're taking a live look near the U.S. Capitol, where a large crowd of protesters has gathered blocking the presidential motorcade route. They've been out there for several hours now, and we know this comes as President Biden begins his State of the Union address. We understand the president left the White House about 10 or 12 minutes ago to get to the U.S. Capitol. But again, this group has been out there protesting for several hours now. This is a live shot right now. It appears their group is calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Of course, we'll continue to monitor that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan, and we'll monitor the protests there for any new developments. Meantime, the president is set to take the stage at any moment now here at the U.S. Capitol, taking a live look tonight inside. The president getting ready to deliver high-stakes remarks for his State of the Union address. Millions of Americans across the country are looking. There's Chief Justice John Roberts there as they await the president to be introduced for his State of the Union address, his third one, and Justice Sotomayor as well. And here's a look, again, the president's challenge tonight as we look live inside. Tonight, we'll try to reassure voters that he should be on the job for 4 more years. It's really a crucial speech as the president faces a likely rematch against Donald Trump come November. Our newsroom right now is listening and monitoring the president's address. We'll bring you any updates coming up later in our newscast here in DC News Now at 9 o'clock. Meanwhile, all new tonight, parents in the district are suing a D.C. agency. They're accusing it of failing to provide reliable transportation for the city's most vulnerable students. Our Marielle Carbone joining us live in the newsroom tonight. And Marielle, I know you've been following this issue for more than a year now.
Yeah, I have, Chris. And tonight with this lawsuit, it's really a big step forward for those impacted families who say a broken system has left them scrambling to get their students and children with disabilities to school every day. This lawsuit really a last resort for them to try and get some change. Now, the Office of the State Superintendent of Education, or OSSE, is responsible for busing students with disabilities to and from school. But as we've reported, families have been left waiting hours for a school bus to show up. And in some cases, that bus never shows up, meaning kids are missing school and parents are forced to miss work and find a way to get their child to school. Now, this lawsuit filed in court today is a class action lawsuit. At least 5 families are on it and various legal organizations, including the ARC. I spoke to one parent who's a plaintiff tonight. She described the fears she faces with her son that has a disability every day.
He could miss medication. He could be on the bus for so long that, I mean, he comes home and he's peed his pants and he's upset. I've heard of other people who their kids have been taken to a different location. There are just so many concerns. You don't know what it could be.
And we reached out to OSSE for comment, but the agency says it does not give any comment on pending litigation. It has told me numerous times through my reporting on this story, though, that it is committed to getting students to school in a safe and reliable way, and that just like many other jurisdictions across the country, they have been dealing with a bus driver shortage. Chris, coming up later on the news at 10, you'll hear more from Daggett and more on this lawsuit and what it all entails. Live in the newsroom tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
All right, big developments there tonight. Marielle, thank you. All right, let's get a check on the forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb. And not a bad Thursday night, Janessa, and Friday, well, it's looking fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. action. Perfect 10 here across the DMV. That's what we're about to step into with all this clearing trying to unfold across the DMV right now. Temperatures at the 9 o'clock hour, not too bad. We are going to be slightly on the cooler side tomorrow morning. Kiddos at the bus stop as you are kicking off your day, but we'll swiftly warm up to the 60s. Right now, good evening, Manassas, out towards the district, middle 50s. It's a lot cooler for Frederick, Maryland, into Winchester as well. Calvert and Charles County, upper 50s. The winds, they're minimal now that the front has crossed our region, and we're really just sitting under clear conditions from satellite composite radar. Really no cloud coverage as well to talk about, and so that sets the stage for what we're going to experience on your Friday. But quickly, an approaching storm system that's causing severe weather out towards the deep south, about to make a statement for the Ohio Valley with flooding rain, and that's the same storm system that I'm going to be watching closely going into the start of your Saturday. Hour by hour tomorrow as you're kicking off your sun-filled Friday. By 9 o'clock, we're into the lower 50s. Chris, we are headed for the 60s tomorrow afternoon, and then big time changes for the start of your weekend. We'll break down that full extended forecast coming up.
All right, Janessa, thanks. We'll see you then. All new at 9 tonight. 3 escaped inmates are now being charged with the murders of a Virginia couple who vanished in the Caribbean last month. The men are accused of hijacking the couple's catamaran, then throwing them overboard. Ralph Hendry and Kathy Brando were veteran sailors who lived in Fairfax County for more than a decade. They are now presumed dead. Their bodies have yet to be found. A hearing for the suspected killers is scheduled for later this month. And now to the story we'll have much more on coming up at 9:30. Maryland teenager who tried as an adult in connection to an attempted murder on a Prince George's County school bus last May. Caden Holland, also known as Baby K, was 15 when police say he got onto a school bus with a gun and tried to shoot a student. That gun jammed. The shooting never panned out. Holland is expected to go on trial in late March. If convicted as an adult, he could face life in prison.
I believe this is a massive mistake for the Commonwealth. I am a true optimist, and I will never stop fighting for Virginia's success.
Tonight, the clearest indication yet that Alexandria will not be getting that multi-billion-dollar arena. Top Virginia lawmakers deciding to leave the project out of the state budget. While the development does not necessarily mean it is the end of the road, it's a major blow, of course, to Governor Glenn Youngkin. This is his best shot at moving the Wizards and Capitals out of D.C. and into the Commonwealth. And we have live team coverage tonight. Daniel Hamburg talks to people living in and around Potomac Yard. But first, we want to get right to Max Marcillo with a full breakdown of today's announcement. And Max, things really unraveled fairly quickly.
Well, Chris, it wasn't even 3 months ago where there was that press conference. It was a bipartisan show of support. The governor was here. Monumental Sports CEO Ted Leonsis was here. State and local lawmakers were here. It was an exciting day. They said they showed renderings of an arena and entertainment district, all just planned to be right behind us. Here's the thing. It's appearing that that plan is not looking good tonight. It's looking like a long shot that this will happen in Potomac Yard. The multi-billion-dollar plan to build this massive entertainment district in Alexandria, all centered around an arena for the Wizards and Capitals, just took a huge hit.
I believe that is, as I said earlier, a monumental mistake for the Commonwealth.
Governor Glenn Youngkin's frustration aimed at the Senate and, though not mentioned by name, Senator Louise Lucas. She chairs the powerful Senate Finance Committee and has repeatedly blocked the deal.
I do not believe we ought to put the full faith and credit of the Commonwealth behind a project that's going to further enrich billionaires. If they want this project, pay for it.
The governor running out of options.
The next step is for the General Assembly and particularly the Senate to embrace the opportunity. It's their move.
He indicated he wants the Senate to change course before the end of session on Saturday. That seems highly unlikely. He could still offer a budget amendment next month or call a special session. But David Ramadan, George Mason professor, former delegate, and a lobbyist for the arena deal, says not much hope there either.
Even though that's theoretically a possibility, it's practically not something that will succeed.
Now, there is a chance this deal or any other arena deal could be brought forward again next year, but Senate Majority Leader Scott Sorovel told reporters this afternoon he doesn't know if Monumental will want to come back to the table, want to wait another year for another proposal, considering their lease is running out over in the district. Live in Potomac Yard, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
All right, a lot happening, Max. Thanks. As contentious as it has been for politicians, people who live around Potomac Yard, they also have really strong opinions. Some want the arena, but many say they shouldn't be the ones paying for it. Our Daniel Hamburg live in the Delray neighborhood of Alexandria. And Daniel, I know you spoke with one business owner tonight about this issue.
Yeah, Chris, the owner of Pork Barrel Barbecue is holding out hope that this arena could still come to town, but he says it's good for businesses and people who live here, even having this sign, "We support monumental opportunity for Alexandria." But other people I talked with today were jumping for joy at the plan's current demise. This empty plot of land could stay that way for quite some time after funding for the sprawling monumental sports and entertainment complex fell flat in Richmond.
It's certainly disappointing. What we need is what's best for Alexandria, and building that commercial tax base, taking the pressure off residences is something that's important to me and should be important to all the residents.
Bill Blackburn is partner of Homegrown Restaurant Group with 6 restaurants in Alexandria.
I think what it does do is it alleviates some of the tax burden from the residents. I'm a resident here in Alexandria too, and I'm looking at this as a plus more as a resident of Alexandria than I am as a business owner.
But others quite literally jumped for joy, not wanting taxpayers to fund the arena.
I think it's a fantastic thing that's happened. I mean, the entire deal was barely worked through. There was no local controls over it. I love going into DC too. It's a great location.
Andrew McDonald with the Coalition to Stop the Arena is pleased.
We're very happy that it isn't in the budget. We feel like that it has distracted from the more important funding priorities of the state.
He acknowledges
this project is not completely dead and buried yet.
And that's what's giving Blackburn some hope.
I'm optimistic that they're still going to find a way to make this happen, bring it to Alexandria, and let our local officials make sure it works for us.
So for now, concerns over traffic and, of course, where this funding is coming from, that's all being put to bed for now, but it appears both sides are going to keep up the pressure to get what they want. Live in Alexandria, Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
Daniel, thank you. Meanwhile, Chairman Phil Mendelson released a statement on exclusion of the arena from the Virginia budget. It reads in part, the arena and monumental sports have been partners with the district for almost 30 years and a great asset to downtown. As the deal in Virginia remains uncertain, the council continues to be ready to welcome monumental sports' change of mind.